It's time to make our picks. Is Nebraska set to finish this season with a winning record? We're going to tell you coming up next.
You are Locked On Nebraska, your daily Nebraska Cornhuskers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Good morning, and thanks for making Locked On Nebraska your first listen every day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And the NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get in on the regular season action with FanDuel, because right now new customers can finish the season strong with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com to get started.
All right, here we go. Connor Happer, Mitch Sherman with you. It is the final in-season episode of the Locked On Nebraska podcast. Everything changes after this. We go back to the doldrums and the 9 months of the offseason, the darkness. The countdown will never be longer on Saturday or Sunday, whenever we do our next podcast after the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, Mitch.
Yeah, I didn't think about it that way. I feel like it's been the offseason already, though, Connor. Like this month of December, we've talked so much. Like, we're going to talk now about the Pinstripe Bowl. I know you're tired of hearing about the matchups. We've dissected it from every angle. Actually, we've done none of that. It's all been about the transfer portal and the coaching carousel. Today, we are going to talk about the Pinstripe Bowl, Nebraska-Boston College.
Yeah, the least we could do is dedicate one episode to it. So we're gonna give you everything we have for these next 30 minutes on the Pinstripe Bowl. The Pinstripe Bowl, brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, used to be the Pinstripe Bowl, brought to you by New Era Cap Company, the New Era Pinstripe Bowl.
What happened?
So I don't know. Yeah, it ended after the 2021 Pinstripe Bowl. I would assume that they gave him a bunch of hats and stuff like that. I don't know what they give him now. They give him mowers. I don't think you could do that. I'm not sure what's in the swag bag.
Yeah, I mean, they already picked up their swag. The Huskers I saw some footage on social media of Huskers picking up swag in their swanky Midtown Manhattan hotel on early in the week. I don't know. Maybe is the media gift. Am I going to get a mower? Am I coming home with a mower? Is that what's going on? Maybe like an edger.
You get a 10% off of blade sharpening from Bad Boy Mowers. They got you.
You know what I got for the holidays this year? At my wife's family Christmas, I got a Toro blower, the tool only, from the 60 volt rechargeable battery version. I have the mower, I have the snow blower, I have the blower, I have the pole saw. I'm just making the full collection. Sorry, I'm talking about Toro here. You know, the Bad Boy Mowers is not sponsoring this podcast. They're sponsoring the bowl game, but it was a true old man holiday gift.
I don't think Bad Boy Mower sponsors anything else. I don't even think I've ever seen a Bad Boy Mower. So, you know, they have the Pinstripe Bowl, and this is their thing. I'm proud of you, though, for going brand loyal on one. I have all the Ryobi battery, like the blower and the trimmer and the edger and all that stuff.
You got to do it. You got to stick to a brand, because the batteries for me are interchangeable. And I know we've had this discussion like way back at the beginning of the show about you know, the gas mower and all that stuff. I'm all in on the electric equipment. This is not like an environmental statement or anything like that, although I think that's nice. But I get good power out of my my Toro 60 volt mower. It's fantastic.
All right,
and I don't have to go to the gas station.
That's it. That's our Pinstripe Bowl preview. Thanks for joining us today. Appreciate you guys. That's all we got on the Pinstripe Bowl. No,
are we gonna mow the field with the Bad Boy Mowers, or what's going on?
I don't think the grass is probably growing anymore. I'm not sure what's going on.
It's supposed to the chance of rain on Saturday at Yankee Stadium. Temps in the 40s. So I was told in very explicit instructions during my stop into the Horseshoe the other night for the college football playoff game. I ran into some people who've covered Pinstripe Bowls before, and they said, whatever you do, take a jacket and a hat and gloves, because the press box, it is open air, and we've mentioned this on this show, but it's not just open air. Like, it's cold. They're not going to pump a bunch of heat in there from like space heaters and things. Like, you're going to feel like you're outside. Like like they do for the Yankees games in the summer. So
it's stupid to me, but all right. What, classic Yankees. Hey, let's go sign a bunch of aging veterans to replace Juan Soto and have an open air press box when we have a game in late December. Great idea. All right, here we go. Let's go with our over unders as we're going to preview the game. We're going to talk about the game. We'll start how we always start with Dylan Raiola passing yards. Who will Dylan Raiola be passing to? The usual suspects. What will it look like?
That's another question for another segment.
Okay, so we'll discuss that later, but it has to be factored into this number, 249.5 for Dylan Raiola.
Yep, BC's given up about that much. Not a great pass defense statistically for the Eagles, and I think Nebraska is going to have gotten its passing game together. It looks like it should be a decent day to throw the ball as opposed to some previous Pinstripe Bowls. I'm taking the over on Dylan Raiola. He's going to get 250 or more.
Yeah, bowl games have these weird qualities to them where you kind of just take the governor off, like you just let it go, and so whatever's working is working. And I don't think anybody will be afraid to absolutely just take the top off of the take the top of the defense. I'll say over. That doesn't mean they're going to like abandon the run game or anything, but I'll say over 250 for Dylan. Boston College quarterback. His name is Grayson James. It's no longer Thomas Castellano, who entered the transfer portal and ended up at Florida State. Grayson James he's been the starting quarterback for the better part of the last month worth of games for BC. His number is 234.5. Mitch.
Yeah, so Grayson James had some good games in late in the season. You did the pod earlier in the month with our Locked On BC expert, and I think he downplayed a little bit how well Boston College played toward the end of the season. It was like, the Eagles were doing all right. Look, 37-31 win against Syracuse to open up November. That's a good Syracuse team. Then Boston College lost by 10 at SMU. 20-point win against North Carolina, put 41 on the board, finished with a 34-23 win against Pitt. And that's when James, that's the Grayson James era right there, those 4 games. He didn't throw for much. They ran the ball all over Syracuse. But James threw for 237, 192, 253 in the last 3 games. So I like him to also go over on this 234.5 number that we've set.
Yeah, I agree. I think 234 is sort of low. And when you look at his past output, same thing applies to them, right? Take the governor off and let him sort of go with it. So I'll take over his number as well, 234.5. All right, to the run game for Nebraska, Emmett Johnson, pretty much no question that he'll be the leading ball carrier in the game for Nebraska, unless they decide that Quentin Ives has really burst onto the scene here. Emmett Johnson will probably have the most carries in the game. Will he have over 86.5 yards, Mitch?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say he does. I think this is kind of an offensive day at Yankee Stadium. Boston College strength defensively is stopping the run, but I think that Emmett's going to go over 86.5. I think he's going to come close to 100 yards and have a great end to his junior season.
Yeah, I think he'll do a lot in the all-purpose game too, though. We're about to talk about maybe the biggest impact guy in the game here on the next over-under, but because of Donovan Ezeraku and the way that he could get to
Emmett Johnson, sorry.
Yeah, because of Ezeraku, who we're about to talk about, and the way he could get to the quarterback, I think Nebraska will use Emmett in the screen game a lot and get that part of it going. I'll say over. I think he goes over 100 yards in all-purpose and does his thing there. So. Yeah. Ezeraku has been, one of the most dominant sack getters in the country this year. He's going to play in this game, as far as we know. Bill O'Brien has
on the depth chart.
Yeah, Bill O'Brien has been sort of wishy-washy on the whole who's playing thing. He's like, he doesn't really want to talk about it because he probably knows that he'll go off onto 70 other tangents if he starts talking about it. Which good job by him. Ezeraku's over a sack and a half in this game, working on Nebraska's tackles.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a possibility that he won't play. Like this could be one of those. There are instances in some bowl games where you see now he's on the depth chart, and the depth chart that Boston College put out seemingly removed players who were injured or out. I don't know if there's any gamesmanship in that, and if you would want to announce early that Ezeraku was sitting. Perhaps he's taking it down to the end, and he's like, "Coach, I'm gonna practice. I'm gonna do this," or maybe he's not practicing. I'm gonna say the under because I'm including in my mind the possibility that he may not even play one rep in this game.
I'm gonna take the over. Working on Bryce Benhart. You know. Working on whatever, Gunnar Gatula, whichever tackle Nebraska's throwing out there. I think he gets the quarterback twice or more in this game. On the other side, sacks by Nebraska total 2.5. Now remember, Nebraska's playing with a bit of a mash unit for this game in particular along the defensive line with the transfers that they lost.
Yeah, who's going to be coming off the edge for Nebraska is the question. No Jamari Butler, no James Williams, no Prince William Manuelin. You're gonna see Keona Davis more than we've seen Keona Davis. You're going to see Cam Lenhart as a black shirt, I would think, a starter in this game. 2.5 sacks for Nebraska. I don't think Boston College is going to try to throw it a ton. In spite of what Grayson James, the numbers that we saw late in the year, I think they're going to try to come out and see if they can run it against Nebraska. So by the time Boston College gets around to throwing the ball, if it needs to in the second half, I don't think that's going to be enough for Nebraska to get above 2. I'm going to take the under on this.
I'm going to go under 2. Losing Tony White and this actually would have been a really good game for Tony White to dial up these kind of crazy exotic blitzes and whatever.
Yeah.
So it'll be a big moment for John Butler and for the rest of the staff that's sort of on the defense, and they have to figure out a way to sort of generate some pressure. My guess would be Nebraska's a little bit more of a base, like sit back, like not too much
conservative. I think Butler's going to be a more conservative coordinator, just plain and simple. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm taking the under. 2 more in this segment before we take a break. Boston College total net rushing yards 122.5 is the number.
Yeah, so we're using the sack total. We're taking sack yardage and subtracting it from the rushing yards. This will be what it says on the stat sheet for net rushing yards. 122.5. Eagles are averaging 176. Nebraska's allowing 105.8. So it's a good matchup. I'm going to say Boston College goes over on this.
Yeah, with Nebraska's defensive line in the state that it's in right now, but their defense in the state that it's in, that's a pretty low number. I know Nebraska has become pretty accustomed to not allowing 100 or 150 or, all that stuff. I think Boston College hits that 122 mark, relative ease. And then the total for the game is 45.5. I'm looking on the FanDuel Sportsbook. It is still currently 45.5. Nebraska and Boston College. Do you like the over or the under?
Well, you can kind of see the direction that we've gone, or that I've gone, and we're pretty similar in what we're picking here. I think it's going to be an offensive day at Yankee Stadium. The short porch in right field is going to come into play. There are going to be a lot of runs scored in this one. So
nice.
Over.
They're going to have to put the StatCast on there of this would have been a home run in 0 other ballparks.
Yes, that will be displayed on ABC. This would have been a touchdown in every other stadium that exists because the football field is exactly the same.
Nice. I'm taking the over as well. Not by a lot. I don't think it soars over. But I like where the odds are on the over for this game too. Yeah. All right. Those are our props for the game. We have a few more that we want to throw at you in the second segment. We'll get a little bit more Nebraska specific, maybe answer some questions about what kind of team we'll actually see. We'll do that when we return here on the Locked On Nebraska podcast.
Okay, Mitch Sherman here to tell you about Rocket Money. I want to know, do you have any subscriptions that you've forgotten about or that you might be overpaying for? I think the answer for all of us is yes, and Rocket Money has made it easy to track them all down. It's like having a personal assistant for your finances. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps you find and cancel unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, help lower your bills so you can grow your savings. It brings everything together in one place: subscriptions, spending habits, even the goals you want to hit in the year 2025. Rocket Money has more than 5 million users and has saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions today. Reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. That's rocketmoney.com/locked on. All right, back with you for segment number 2 of this Friday edition post-Christmas Locked On Nebraska podcast. I am Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Connor Happer of 1620 The Zone is with me. We're done with the over-unders on the Pinstripe Bowl to be played Saturday, 11 a.m., Yankee Stadium, ABC. Let's get into some general picks about the Huskers and the Boston College Eagles in this game. Who will win the turnover margin in this game? Connor, Nebraska, Boston College, or you can say even. Nebraska is -1 for the year. Quite the reversal from the first half of the season when the Huskers were averaging a +1 per game. They went -7 in the second half of the season. So, still a pretty big jump from that, 17 in the hole a year ago. Boston College is +8 for the year.
Yeah, kind of a lot on the line there. You want to go even, right? That'd be nice. But I don't think they will. I think Nebraska will lose the turnover margin in this game because of their aggression on offense and their lack of aggression on defense.
I'm going to say it's even. I'm going to say we get a 1-1 or 2-2 in this game. So I'm going even. You've got BC playing the odds. Statistically, I see is what you're doing. So
yes.
Okay, who will lead Nebraska in receiving yardage? Nebraska leader in receiving yardage in this game. No Isaiah Nair, who's been a popular pick for us through the season in this category. He's out. He's opted out of this game. Going to get ready for the East-West Shrine Bowl, along with a couple other Huskers who are in that game in Texas in January. Who's it going to be? Give me a name.
So we've done 12 shows, 12 pre-show pods, and I think I've picked Banks or Nair every time. And just basically vacillated in between the two. So game 13 is here, the weird game, the extra game. Ja'Cory Barney is my pick.
Yeah. That's the way things have trended in the second half of the season. Part of me just wants to go way off the board. And I'm just going to do it. I've got a pretty sizable lead in this category. By the way, I'm up 50-44 through 12 games for Nebraska. Not a huge lead. You can catch me in this game against the spread. I'm 6-5-1. You're 5-6-1. So we're very much in play in being equal there. I'm gonna say, and this is kind of wild. No, I'm changing my mind. I'm going Jalen Lloyd. I was gonna say Carter Nelson, and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I was gonna say Carter Nelson's gonna have an 80-yard catch, and if he does, I want half credit for that. I get no credit for that. Jalen Lloyd.
So that half counts. Yes, I agree.
No, I don't think it should. You can't say two names. I'm going Jalen Lloyd on the record, written down in ink here. Jalen Lloyd, the sophomore out of Omaha West Side.
Okay, so if Carter Nelson catches an 80-yard touchdown, I'll tweet at you and I'll say nobody saw that coming, including you, Mitch Sherman. You
can shout me out.
Yeah,
you can shout me out. I don't think that's going to happen. I just said it. That's. We've seen nothing like that this year. Okay, Heinrich Harburg. This has been a popular pick all season, but he's moved to tight end. It's official. He's no longer a quarterback. He is practicing at quarterback in the lead up to the bowl game, and if needed, Nebraska will play him at quarterback one more time in this game. But how many times has he targeted as a receiver?
Two times as a receiver, maybe. And to get really specific with it, I think that Heinrich Harburg, in this Pinstripe Bowl brought to you by Bad Boy Mowers, he catches a shovel pass that he gets 12 yards on.
Okay. Oh, I'm gonna write that down.
Yep.
Shovel 12 yards. Okay, I'm gonna say 3. I was gonna say 2, but I want to be different than you, so I'm gonna say 3, and we'll go with that. All right. Will any player attempt to pass for Nebraska other than Dylan Raiola?
No. If you want to go with the story, maybe this is Jalen Gramstad's last game. I'm going to say no.
Bowl game fun. Heinrich Harburg will attempt to pass in this game. I'm going to get that specific and say it's Heinrich Harburg. That perhaps will be one of his targets. It could be a throw across the field, a double pass. That's what I'm going with. Harburg, we get both of those last two picks on helping out with two of my selections. Okay. Total number of blocked kicks. This is both teams. Total number of blocked kicks and defensive or special teams touchdowns in this game.
Well, the odds, like if you were doing this on a Super Bowl bet, the odds for 0 would be like minus 500, right? This is a bowl game and it does feature Nebraska. So I'll say one. I'll say there is one of those, and it's a scoop and score by Nebraska's defense. A fumble, scoop and score.
Nice. I'm just going to say 0 because, again, it's not any fun if I say the same thing as you. So I'm going to say 0. I wanted to say 1, but I'm going to say 0 on this one, and I believe it. I strongly believe it's going to be 0. All right, let's burn through this because we've got some bowl games to pick. Who scores the first points for Nebraska in this game on Saturday?
Emmett Johnson.
You're going one Johnson. I'm going the other Johnson. He was born at Mount Sinai Hospital right there on Central Park South. Look at that building up there. Ramir Johnson scores the first touchdown. What a story. Hometown guy comes back. He's healthy, gets in the end zone in the first quarter to give Nebraska a 7-0 lead. Okay, we're picking this game. We need scores. Nebraska, Boston College, Saturday, Yankee Stadium, 11 a.m., ABC, national broadcast. Who wins? What's the score?
Nebraska wins the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl 28-20 because I'm incapable of picking any other score. It's either 28-21, 27-21, 28-20. I'm going 28-20 for Nebraska over Boston College.
Okay. I'm saying Nebraska wins 30-27. So I had to hit that over pretty easily, getting over 57 points over under. If you remember in the last segment was 45.5. So Nebraska finishes 7-6. We both believe that's going to happen. Oh, and a bonus pick, Pinstripe Bowl MVP.
Dylan Raiola, and he puts it in his big trophy case and starts, and then the Heisman hype for next year gets rolling right away.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you there. I think if Nebraska puts up 30 points, it's pretty easily going to be Dylan Raiola. So that's the story. We're sticking to it. When we come back after this break, we've got Friday bowl games, we've got Saturday bowl games, and a Monday bowl game that a lot of people around this part of the country will be watching. That is next.
All right, it's Tapper here for the FanDuel Sportsbook. The NFL playoffs are almost here, but it's not too late to get on the regular season action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers who place that first $5 bet and it wins are eligible to get $250 in bonus bets. Once again, just win that first $5 bet and you have yourself a nice pad right away. FanDuel has so many ways for you to pick up a W before the postseason even begins. And of course, while the postseason is going on as well, there are your traditional spreads and overs and unders totals, things like that, picking winners, money line bets. But there's also in-game stuff. We're talking about props, touchdown scores, first touchdown scores, which is one of my favorites to do all year. You take a guy that you think is going to score a touchdown in the game, and you just say, hey, I think he's going to score it first. You get some more odds on that one, and the payout is even bigger. Head to FanDuel.com and join today. FanDuel.com for your chance at $250 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, we got bowl games. Who wants bowl games? Get your bowl games. We have them here on this
6 overtime game we had on Thursday night.
Yeah, I think I've seen parts of maybe 3 bowl games that weren't the playoff so far. It's the day after Christmas when we're recording this. I feel like that's above the standard for me. The Nebraska playing in a bowl game has got me back into bowl games a little bit. So thank you.
One thing I didn't do this year that I've done all of the past 7, 8, 9 years is do one of those bowl confidence pick pool things. I've always felt like I needed that to kind of be engaged in bowl season. Otherwise, it was easy to just like completely slip away. And I was busy with stuff and just I didn't make any picks. But it's almost more enjoyable to just sit back and watch a bowl game and not have anything to even think about. Like watching Kansas State right here. Dylan Edwards, former Colorado Buff, just took a long score to the house against Rutgers. Cats are down 11 here before the extra point in the third quarter as we record.
All right. So let's go to our Friday games before Nebraska takes the stage with a few others on Saturday. Friday will start off at 11 o'clock in the morning. Oklahoma is in a bowl game. They play Navy in the Armed Forces Bowl. You know, by the way, another fun thing about this, in some cases, I'm just learning that these teams are playing each other. So this is exciting for me.
Oklahoma has played service academies before. There was a game that was
Army.
Oklahoma play Army a few years ago, and it wasn't televised, but like some guy got like millions of views by streaming it on social media.
Yeah, great times.
Yeah. All right. Sooners are a 2.5-point favorite in this one, 11 a.m. East Central Time, Friday today on ESPN. Watch this thing; it's going to be great. Oklahoma wins and covers.
Sooners, Boomer, agreed. They win. They get some kind of. They always do the thing where they get momentum in the transfer portal and all that stuff. So, give me OU. Birmingham Bowl will feature Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt at 2:30 on ESPN. Do I have to make sure
these announcements?
Do I have to make sure these teams are actually playing each other?
You might need to. It's like these announcements just came out now. Like we're reading the announcements of the bowl. Like, gosh, can you believe that Georgia Tech and Vanderbilt are playing? These things have been known for weeks.
Confirmed. This will be in Birmingham.
I like Vanderbilt. I've seen Georgia Tech play a few times this year, and they've generally been pretty impressive when I've watched Georgia Tech. But SEC all the way. I'm waving the flag. Vanderbilt wins.
What the heck?
And wins the game outright.
Wow. SEC honk, Mitch Sherman. I did not know this about you. Yeah, Georgia Tech. Today. They had the game against Georgia, and then everybody else watched them in week 0 when they beat Florida State. I like Brent Key. I like what he's doing. Give me GT to win the.
Brent Key's only good against highly ranked teams, and Vanderbilt's like the opposite of that. They're going to sneak up on them.
Hey, they beat Alabama this year, right?
It did. They're still not ranked.
All right. We move on to the Liberty Bowl. This will feature Texas Tech and Arkansas. Texas Tech is a 1.5 favorite. This Liberty Bowl is in Memphis, Tennessee at 6 o'clock tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah, tonight. Give me Joey McGuire and Garrett McGuire on the sidelines together for the first time as head coach and assistant coach. I don't know if Garrett's coaching in this game or not. New wide receivers coach for the Red Raiders. I would assume he probably is. Some of Nebraska's new coaches are suiting up and getting ready for the Pinstripe Bowl tomorrow. So I like Texas Tech to win this thing and cover.
Okay, so
old Southwest Conference fun.
Yeah, this is pretty good. Give me Arkansas. I'll go Oppo here. Give me Taylon Green and Jaquin Jackson and them boys. Monty Harrison, may he finally, play in a game this year in the bowl game. Who knows? Who's to say? Has
he done nothing this year?
No, he's done nothing. I think he had one catch in like in the Arkansas Pine Bluff game or something like that.
He was going to have a great year this season so he could get to the NFL, and because he's got all those years to catch, didn't work out. That's what happens when you go play minor league baseball for 10 years or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It turns out. Yeah. The Holiday Bowl. Nebraska is familiar with the Holiday Bowl in San Diego. This year, it features Syracuse and Washington State. This is at 7 o'clock on Friday on Fox, the DirecTV Holiday Bowl.
Syracuse is a 17.5-point favorite in this thing. That's a huge number for
Washington State. That's the difference there.
Oh, and they lost their coach too. So, this would be a great story. Kyle McCord facing who even knows. Washington State doesn't have a quarterback, doesn't have a coach, doesn't have a conference. Not going to win this game, but they're going to cover. Washington State loses by 14.
Mitch Sherman here for the SEC and for the little guys, and for Washington State. Good on you, Mitch. I'm going to take Syracuse to cover the already gigantic number. And then we head out to the Vegas Bowl. That is the late night game. The SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl will feature the University of Southern California, who went 6-6 this year, against the Texas A&M Aggies, who very, very sadly have to play in this game for their own sake.
Are there a bunch of opt-outs on both sides in this game?
I would imagine so. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of portal entries. I mean, SC lost Deuce Robinson and some others. Okay, I am going to take USC. Big Ten all the way. USC wins this game. I don't know if USC wins the game. I don't need them to win the game. I just need them to lose by 3. So I'm taking USC in the points.
Yeah, you love conference cheering. I'll take USC as well. Can't imagine that Texas A&M is super fired up about having to play a 6-6 team when they thought they were going to make the playoff, before the last game. So, not good for them. And remember the rule when it comes to SEC teams in bowl games: they don't care. If they care, they win. If they don't win, they don't care.
That's right. That's right.
Then we have a few Saturday games that we have to cover here. So there's a game at Yankee Stadium, the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. And then we have I believe it's the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. It's brought to you by Wasabi, which I love Wasabi. It's great. And this is at Fenway Park. UConn and North Carolina play each other.
Yeah, Bill Belichick not coaching in this game. He will, I assume, be in attendance. He'll probably be on the ESPN broadcast for part of the game. That's usually the way they do it with coaches who are coming in. He'll have a quarter up in the booth. 10 a.m. early kick Saturday. UConn, North Carolina. I'm going to say take UConn in this one. Freddie Kitchens on the sidelines for the Tar Heels. I'll take the Huskies. Big basketball matchup in this one. This would be a good basketball game.
Yeah, you're I guess UConn's an independent, right? In football, because there's no Big East football anymore, sadly. Well, give me UNC. The Belichick magic rubs off on them via Freddie Kitchens. Right. To the New Mexico Bowl we go. This
I don't know why we're picking this one.
The Isleta New Mexico Bowl features TCU and Louisiana on ESPN on Saturday afternoon. TCU is 11.5-point favorite at this very moment.
Okay, I don't care about this game. I'm just going to say TCU. I'm sorry that I put this one in. There's 3 games I want to talk about a little bit here before we finish the show. So all TCU. Right, cool.
Give me Louisiana. Give me the Raging Cajuns. Okay. All right. Pop-Tarts. All right, Pop-Tarts has invented a new trophy where the trophy is a toaster.
It's a yes.
So
yes.
This is huge. And Iowa State is playing Miami also in a game at 2:30 on ABC Saturday afternoon. The Canes are 3.5-point favorites in a game between college football playoff hopefuls but non-participants.
Yeah, I'm taking the Cyclones just because the Cyclones will treat that trophy with much more care. If Miami wins this game, that trophy is going to get stuck in some closet. The toaster will never get used. If Iowa State wins it, it's going to be out in the Jacobson Athletic Building, like right there on the front door when you come in, for everybody to see. You can make toast and this came from the Pop-Tarts Bowl, so they will celebrate this trophy. So Iowa State wins the game outright and covers the 3.5-point spread.
Yeah, give me the Clones as well. And it's a great excuse for all of their rivals regionally, like Iowa, Nebraska, Missouri, whatever, to make fun of them and say their best season in school history resulted in a Pop-Tarts Bowl win. So yeah. Well, Iowa will make fun of them endlessly no matter what. I think Nebraska fans are probably to the point where they're going to be rooting for the Clones, and it's hard for Nebraska fans to make fun of the Clones. True. To be honest. True. Yeah. 2 more games to pick. The Alamo Bowl is BYU and Colorado. Oh man, I missed the Alamo Bowl. Remember the Alamo? Colorado is 4-point favorites with Heisman Trophy winner Travis Hunter playing against Kalani Sitake and BYU.
Yeah. Jake Retzloff, the BYU quarterback, Shadur Sanders, the Colorado quarterback, potential number 1 pick in the draft. They're all playing. Like, this is great. This is a game where you would think there would be opt-outs. You would think, Travis Hunter, why are you playing in this game? I mean, look, it's because Deion Sanders is his coach, and you're not going to do that to Deion. You're going to play in the game. Like, that's great. Great on Colorado. Way to go, Buffs. I'm glad to see that their stars are playing in this game. So for that reason, I like Colorado to win this game and cover the spread.
Yeah, I think that number is too small. I think it's going to be the Buffs by like multiple touchdowns here. 1 or 2 touchdowns on Saturday afternoon. So what would that be? An 11th win or no, a 10th win for Colorado this year? Pretty impressive. And then
Saturday night. That's Saturday night. Yeah.
Awesome. The Music City Bowl, which will feature, this is what we like to call a big meteor game for Nebraska fans. They hope that a big meteor hits Nashville, Tennessee, because they don't want to root for either team, Iowa or Missouri.
Yeah. Yeah. How do Nebraska fans do you think they feel about Missouri in the year 2024, 2025?
Bad.
I
don't feel good about them.
Missouri's going to win this game. Iowa got 5 first downs in its last game. Did you see that the Caleb Johnson run where Nebraska tackled itself 3 times was deemed one of the greatest plays in Iowa history by Kirk Ferentz this month?
Yeah.
All right.
You're taking Missouri?
I am.
All right. Well, guess what? I'm taking Iowa for the exact reasons that you're not taking Iowa. This is where they live. This is the slop. This is the mess. They're going to win this game with even less first downs. They're going to have like 1 first down and win this game.
Usually what happens to Iowa in this situation is gets shut out. And they've been shut out. I know Iowa was shut out in its bowl game last year, and I feel like it's happened previously too. And you just look at it and you go, how did they win 8 games, 9 games, 10 games, whatever? They can't score at all. But they do. So
they do.
I like Mizzou.
Rules don't apply to them. Okay. That's it. Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Great job, everybody. We have more bowl games to preview that we'll know more about, I promise, coming after the weekend. We'll also be with you this weekend at some point to get you a reaction pod to Nebraska and Boston College. Enjoy the game, everybody, and we appreciate you listening as always. For your second listen, you could check out the Locked On Big Ten podcast, where Craig puts the Big Ten first. Find Locked On Big Ten on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.